Good morning. I'm so glad to join so many of Fresnans here today in front of Fresno City Hall as we are standing up and demanding that we have the housing that we need in communities that need it the most. Now, for too long, communities that have been historically neglected have not had the investments that they so desperately need. Whether or not it's communities that have been redlined, that have lived in certain sides of towns, that have not gotten the investments that have led to blight, it has too often led to communities not receiving the housing that they desperately need, both in terms of quality as well as affordability. And so I stand here today to make sure that we're fighting for more housing, that we're standing up to build, but that we build with smart growth, that we're focused on areas of our town that have been left behind. I'd like to point out, if I can, the work that the state has done to invest into our downtown. Over the last 2 years, we've helped to secure $150 million, money that will help us to rebuild the water and the sewage, as well as to build some parking structures downtown that will allow us to develop and to create the density around our transit, to focus on transit-oriented development so that future generations can live, work, and play in our historic downtown. Just yesterday, if you missed it, the CEO of High Speed Rail was here, and he was speaking about a timeline for when we would have an operating segment and when it would connect to our downtown. As we're connecting California, as we are building tomorrow today, we also need to be building the housing that our community will need. Just this morning, we heard from a Gen Zer in a Fresno Bee opinion page where they're talking about wanting options to be able to live in places like downtown. And so we have to listen to our community, we have to be responsive to our community, and focus on areas that have been historically neglected. Before we're considering growth in other areas, we must do smart growth that's already around the transit that we have today. I'm grateful that there are so many community members who are organized, who are standing up, who are mobilizing to make sure that our voices are heard in these places where decisions are made. Here we are in front of Fresno City Hall, where these Fresno City Council members will have an opportunity to make sure that we have smart growth. But to do that, we can't solely be focused on building to build for building's sake, but instead focused on being smart about that building and growing it around transit and areas where community wants to live. Now, we have to be focused on an enterprise beyond just a train that's coming, and it's nice to hear the train honking in the background behind us, but we have to make sure that we have the housing, the entertainment, the nightlife, the small businesses, the economic development that comes when you have smart growth. When we build that retail and housing that will allow us to have that smart growth, we will be a better and more connected Fresno, and frankly, a Fresno for all. And so I'm grateful to join so many of you here today to make sure that we're demanding and fighting to get the housing that we so desperately need. Thank you for allowing me to share words with you today, and I'd like to pass it back to Dylan Savory with the Central Labor Council.
Morning all, Dylan Savory. I'm the Executive Director of the 4 County Central Labor Council. I'm glad Assemblymember Arambula touched on smart growth because I'll focus a lot of my time on the dumb growth model that the city of Fresno has existed in for the past 100 years or so. But first, let's just talk about how wonderful it is to have this incredible, diverse coalition of people behind me, of neighborhood leaders from all over the city of Fresno that represent different types of people and different types of groups that have independently come to the conclusion that the Southeast development area is probably the biggest mistake and a policy decision that the city of Fresno has ever considered. It's on par with Operation Rezone, and is certainly the most grassroots opposition that we've had to any policy since Ashley Swearingen tried to privatize garbage with Measure G. We're all excited to be here today because we're releasing our own plan for smart growth that you all can get a copy to on the way out the door that we've released to the media this week. The bottom line is we've spent the last 90 days meeting, conferring, and democratically putting together a plan for the city, since we know that our city leaders are not only beholden to industry folks and residential home developers, but city leaders are often on political timelines that don't line up with the reality of the working class in our city. So many of us represent neighborhoods that have potholes, where kids don't have safe routes to schools, grandparents can't walk and get their walkers stuck on broken sidewalks, and we don't have enough great jobs or infrastructure in any part of our neighborhoods. Yet the city wants to commit $3 billion of all of our revenue and all of our future money towards for a road to nowhere that'll lead to no jobs, that'll lead to a brand new white flight community for rich people to move out of the city and continue the blight of the inner city of Fresno. And we're not going to take it. Frankly, the city has always, the keys to City Hall have always resided in the pockets of the residential home builders in this community. They have always paid for the campaign finances of our mayors and our city council members, and they've always ran over the will of the working class. And that is going to stop today, because now we have a plan to demand of our future council members that are coming on board in the next year. We have a plan that we're going to demand of our future mayor, of our future administrations. We're telling the current city council and the current mayor's office that if you do not stop SEDA now, we can put a referendum forward, we can put lawsuits forward, we can put a brand new general plan forward, because we collectively know what it takes to build out our neighborhoods, and that is not a road to nowhere. That is not $3 billion in future interest payments and taxes and everything else that goes into the pockets of the residential home developer community. We're not going to continue dumb development. We're going to invest in smart growth. We're going to invest in a workforce that'll build complicated, skilled and trained projects like in downtown Fresno, like Joaquin said, in our transit corridors along Kings Canyon, along Blackstone. We're going to build high-rise buildings, affordable housing units. People want to live in the city of Fresno, in the inner city. Folks do not need $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 homes out on the outskirts of town near the farmland, running over folks that live in rural communities now. You're going to hear from some of our residential folks in the rural communities next. It's just infuriating that we've done the same thing over and over and over again, but that's why we've come up with our own plan. And I want to just touch on a few of the jobs related things, because folks have asked me, how do unions intersect with this idea? This administration, both Georgianne White and Jerry Dyer, have probably been the most anti-worker administration in recent memory. They do not pay their workers well enough to want to stay working for the city of Fresno. Working for the city of Fresno is no longer a coveted career job that you want to stay in. It's the type of job that you go and get 3 or 4 years training in, and then you go to the neighboring city, or you go to Bakersfield or elsewhere in California, where they will pay you better and you can have justified raises and dignity on the job. We're getting that from our trash drivers. We're getting that from our fax bus drivers, from our white collar workers, certainly our firefighters. They're impacted. This is not a great place to work anymore. We all know we love the city. It's not always a great place to live. But also for our construction workers. Sure, we can build the road to nowhere, but we would much rather tear up the streets downtown and have a multiplier effect where industry is coming in and people are living in high-rise buildings, doing the entertainment aspect, investing in the transit corridors. That's where the real opportunity is. Residential construction are poverty wage jobs, because our residential home builders have subcontractors that do not pay good wages. So if we put $3 billion together out to the middle of nowhere, it leads to low economic activity. And SEDA and all urban sprawl in the past is basically a Ponzi scheme. It never pays for itself. We're all in debt now for what the city has promised in the past. So I'll leave by saying that we're no longer going to take it. The city can come to the negotiation table now and tell us that their phasing model or whatever they're pitching to the council members now is BS. They can come to the negotiation table and say, what do our inner city communities need? They've never asked to talk to us. They've continued to lie to the council. They continue to want to kick the can down the road to future council members. Come to us now. Ask us what the inner city needs. Let's build a plan together. If not, we're going to take our plan on the road and we'll pass it by ourselves. Thank you. I'd like to next welcome up Brett from the Southeast Property Owners.
Good morning, Greenfield Coalition, our community partners, and the City of Fresno. I am here today representing Southeast property owners, residents, farmers, business owners, and fellow stewards of the land in Southeast Fresno County. The City of Fresno's Southeast Development Area Plan, also known as SEDA, is an attempt to annex 9,000 acres of Fresno County property into the City of Fresno's control. Their aim is to pave over with concrete and asphalt to construct 45,000 homes where our farms and rural properties now exist. This plan would result in the loss and destruction of vital farmland, some of the best in the world, resulting in crop production and loss of food production, potentially resulting in a national health food crisis. Water supplies are already scrutinized and battled over. With an increase of population, houses, and business developments, accelerated overdrafts of groundwater aquifers are a major concern. Residents and farmers are already facing state mandates to maintain groundwater levels. County residents are required by law to register private wells by the end of November through SIGMA mandated programs. The City of Fresno forces their residents to abide by strict watering schedules, meanwhile proposing mega developments of housing and business parks. Existing residents will be burdened with significant property value loss due to the city-imposed regulations, restrictions, and rural residential overlay, limiting property owners' rights to keep livestock and continue farming practices. Property owners would also lose other rights granted to us as Fresno County residents. We have major concerns regarding SEDA's hazardous effects on our environment. The implementation of SEDA has the effect of 500,000 tons of carbon emissions annually, leading to air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions, resulting in an estimated $25.5 million in fines paid annually by citizens of the Central Valley, you and I. Fresno's air quality is often moderate to unhealthy. Proceeding with this plan will increase air pollution and endanger Valley residents. The City of Fresno's planning staff is presenting SEDA as a 5 vehicle miles traveled plan. From the north end of SEDA, where the majority of the housing is suggested to be built, to the south end of SEDA, containing majority of the new jobs proposed to be created, the straight line distance is 6.4 miles. One way. Calculations simply do not calculate. Costs to the City of Fresno and Southeast Fresno County residents. Planning staff states SEDA will pay for itself. This is simply not true. SEDA does not pay for itself. The SEDA plan comes with a massive infrastructure cost, recent estimates of $4.3 billion. In addition, county residents will be burdened to pay costs when we are forced to condemn our private water wells and septic infrastructures to connect to city water and city sewer. Residents will each likely incur charges in excess of $100,000 condemning utilities and hooking our properties to city water lines and city sewer services. County residents will be burdened with increased tax bills to pay for additional schools, fire, and police services, increased insurance premiums, and other fees imposed by the City of Fresno. The backlog of deferred maintenance the City of Fresno is currently navigating is piled high at nearly $2 billion. Streets have been neglected. Sidewalks, curbs, and gutter are in disrepair. The city estimates they have 100 water wells that need $40 million or more in repairs to supply current residents with water. But don't worry, they'll be repaired as funds allow. Meaning the city cannot afford to provide proper infrastructure for its existing residents. With the City of Fresno financially unable to provide adequate infrastructure to its existing residents, how can current county residents possibly feel confident the city will provide for us as new residents once we are annexed into the City of Fresno? Results from the total infrastructure cost burden test show that all phases of SEDA result in a project that is not financially feasible. With the implementation of SEDA, residents of Southeast Fresno County will bear the burden of noise, light, and air pollution, along with increased crime, loss of property, privacy, and our rural way of life. to implement trails, to build green belts and parks, and to widen roads to accommodate massive increases in traffic. Southeast property owners do not want developers dictating our future. Fresno planning staff is imposing their plans on us and not listening to our input, suggestions, or concerns. Doubling down during a SEDA workshop presentation, planning staff declared our concerns as myths. Their lack of clear, transparent communication resulting in limited and/or vague answers. Planning staff has not responded to over 1,000 pages of EIR comments given satisfactory reasoning or clarification for postponing a planning commission meeting due to false information about SEDA. While we disagree with the City of Fresno's population growth estimates, we recognize the importance of community development and the needs for cities to grow. Fresno planning staff is not following the master plan. Growth within the city shall be implemented using smart growth planning strategies like infill housing and renovation construction before urban sprawl plans such as SEDA are considered. The SEDA plan is not the answer. The city staff should be taking care of their current residents and their communities before planning to take on more responsibilities and more residents, potentially bankrupting the city of Fresno. Southeast property owners support a smart growth plan and an urban growth boundary, protecting our most valuable resources. We, the people of Southeast Fresno County, say no to SEDA. Thank you.
Next, we'd like to welcome Sabrina Kelly with the Southwest Fresno Development Corporation. Welcome.
This is a difficult conversation for me, and I thank you all for your time, for listening to all the speakers, but I ask you to hear my heart today. I'm a third-generation advocate of Southwest Fresno. Like many immigrants who came to this country, my family migrated here in the 20s from Canada. They were farmers in Canada, homesteaders in Canada, and came to the Central Valley because of the agricultural business. They worked many years and, like many immigrants, were sequestered to Southwest Fresno due to redlining policies, rental covenants that forbid people of color to own property or to rent beyond the train tracks. 50 years ago, over 50 years ago, in 1967, Keith Berthal drafted the first specific plan for Southwest Fresno. Although it was incomplete, it was a start. That plan wasn't updated until 2017. 2017. For decades, Southwest Fresno went undeveloped, without civic investment, without commitment to quality, decent, affordable housing. And if you've ever taken the opportunity to drive through Southwest Fresno, it looks like a third world country, really. Potholes, vacant lots, underdeveloped housing. And if you take a drive now through Southwest Fresno, it looks the same. In fact, if you drive through many of the older neighborhoods in Fresno, if you go to First and Ashland, if you go by Hoover High or McLean, our city is in disrepair. Our city is desolate. The core needs to be rebuilt, yet the city is, the elected officials and the builders are making a plan to create a new Clovis West, basically. They're expanding, they're borrowing on $1.5 billion that doesn't exist because there's no tax base in that area. And what we're calling for today, is for the City of Fresno to honor promises made to Southwest Fresno residents with a specific plan update of 2017. Keep your promise to Southwest Fresno residents, to the immigrants who built this city. Keep your promises. To the people who work hard in the city, keep your promises. That plan was built through deep community engagement, 14 steering committees, 10 topic groups, multiple bilingual workshops. This was not light work. We all worked on this for years, only to be shelved and then only to be put on the back burner for a new shiny penny of SEDA. And let me just say, my family has advocated for the equitable development for all of the neighborhoods in our beloved city of Fresno. And I just want to say that again, our beloved city of Fresno, we have got to take care of the core of Fresno so that all Fresnans can rise, live in decent quality, affordable housing, have good jobs. So this is a call to action. This is a call to keeping promises. And this is a call to completing the neighborhoods here in Fresno before deciding to build on the outskirts of the city. The city already has enough approved housing capacity in Fresno. 70,000 new units with existing plans and existing neighborhoods. And as someone mentioned before, population growth is slowing. It's not accelerating. All the new numbers came out in September. Population growth specifically for Fresno is dropping off. It's halted. State projections tell the truth. And we want the city and also the developers to look at the truth. There's a lot of opportunity right here in the city to build. And as I mentioned, I'm an advocate for equitable development. And saying no to SEDA means saying no to development that creates sprawl, that undermines the ability of families to live in decent quality, affordable housing, and that takes investments away from our beloved city. SEDA is not equitable development. SEDA is sprawl.
Wonderful, wonderful words. We have one more speaker and then I'll close it out. I'd like to welcome Manny Camarena, who is a local realtor and organizer and resident. Welcome, Manny.
Good morning, everyone. I come from an existing community, which was mentioned by several speakers. I'm in Northwest Fresno. Today marks a turning point for West area. Thank you. After years of being planned in reverse, traffic before safety, houses before infrastructure, and the cart before the horse, we finally have a comprehensive roadmap that puts our community first. The West Area Neighborhood Specific Plan is more than just a document. It's a commitment to doing things the right way. For too long, we've seen new homes rise while existing neighborhoods were left without sidewalks, safety, school crossings, or the services that every family deserves, basic services. This plan changes that. It says clearly, existing communities first. No more pushing boundaries and paving over critical farmland, while longtime residents wait for the basics and investments. Finish what has been started. We're building from the inside out, investing where people already live, already work, where our kids attend schools, and where we're raising our families, where I'm raising my family. This is how we honor our roots of our community and those that have come before us. By growing responsibly, protecting what feeds us, and finally ensuring that the West area grows with balance, intention, and equity. That's why we stand firmly against the SEDA proposal, a plan to quietly annex 9,000 more acres of farmland in Southeast Fresno, while our existing neighborhoods still fight for the investment. Fresno doesn't need more sprawl. Fresno needs follow through. It's time to build equity from within, strengthen what already exists, and make sure every part of the city grows with purpose, with the model that is being touted, one Fresno. Show me. One Fresno. Thank you.
So let's be clear. Today is not just about us wanting to defeat SEDA. We think SEDA is so poorly planned it's going to defeat itself. It's not a legally compliant plan, and we have plenty of legal arguments against SEDA. It's really about this democratically put together plan for smart growth, not only now, but into the future. And what we are really demanding amongst all of the demands that we have in this document is a new general plan, because we should not be piecemealing the growth of Fresno. We should be going back to do a comprehensive general plan where we can put all of our demands, all of our city's needs in one document. We can come together, and if we don't get it with this council, we'll get it with the next council. But if this council and this administration moves forward with SEDA, we will defeat it either in the courts or we'll defeat it at the ballot box, and we will move forward with our plan either way. And we are getting ready now that we have announced this to the media. If you count every group that we have behind us, we have folks in every city council district. We're going to be in the neighborhood soon. We're going to be talking to the council members after this, and we're going to wait for the administration to make their response. But their phasing model, these groups are against industrial growth, that's all BS. We want to call that out on the front end. We are very pro-industrial growth for good jobs and good wages and making sure that we can bring new industries here. But we are not for sprawl. So we're happily pro jobs, we're pro the right type of housing, and we're pro smart growth. And we plan to see this through because we're long-term residents, we care about our communities, and we will be here long after this administration and long after this council member. So thank you so much for being here, and we're gonna go knock on some doors. Thank you.